Your body is a second-hand bioreactor held together by caffeine and cheap ibuprofen. You are used to shoveling food garbage into this furnace just for dopamine. And when the system springs a leak, you obediently drag your money to the pharmacy for synthetic crutches. The illusion of the crowd is to consider food just fuel or evening entertainment. Brutal biochemistry says food is a molecular repair kit. Pharmaceuticals stole these natural patents long ago, rolled them in plastic, and sell them to you at a massive markup. Today, we will break down 33 edible tools for the emergency repair of your worn-out frame, from aggressive enzymes that chemically dissolve dead tissues to biological spackle that literally stitches up torn DNA. Pop the hood. Let us start the maintenance. Fact 1. A tropical time bomb right on your plate. You happily chew this sweet yellow cube of pineapple, thinking you are getting a light dessert, but in reality, it is chewing you back. Meet bromelain, an enzyme that works not like a mythical healing fairy, but like a ruthless chemical mercenary. It literally dissolves blood clots and eats away hematomas from the inside, making bruises disappear twice as fast, like erasing evidence at a crime scene. Imagine the acid from the movie Alien eating through a spaceship deck. Only this substance works right in your veins, methodically clearing out any blockages. We get scammed into buying sticky, expensive ointments, sponsoring giant pharmacy empires for years, while salvation lies modestly in the fruit aisle for pennies. Medieval doctors bled patients with rusty basins for mythical renewal, and we voluntarily ignore a natural solvent, preferring to suffer with a very smart look on our faces. If the Tin Woodman needed to oil his rusted joints, he would squeeze the juice right out of this spiky cone. Good luck explaining to your trendy cosmetologist why her elite tubes just went straight into the trash can. Fact 2. A natural kill switch for your broken matrix. Sounds like magic from a cheap novel? Well, it is not. It is just a regular cherry. It contains natural melatonin in such a bioavailable form that your jet-lagged circadian rhythms restore themselves without any synthetic sleeping pills. A handful of these red berries a couple of hours before bed works like a hard reboot for a frozen computer, forcing the brain into sleep mode. We swallow handfuls of chalky tablets, trying to cheat evolution, while the real off button hangs on a tree branch. It is like trying to fix a broken TV by smashing it with a sledgehammer, even though the remote control is resting peacefully on the couch. Ancient Romans ate sleep-inducing herbs until they hallucinated, and we repeat their path just with a fancy pharmacy receipt. If Neo from the Matrix had chosen a red cherry instead of the red pill, he would have just gotten a great night of sleep and stayed out of saving humanity. Your insomnia is looking at you right now with deep disappointment. Fact 3. A bloody ruby that forces your cells into internal cannibalism. Did you really believe pomegranates were only good for raising mythical hemoglobin? Get ready for harsh reality. Its molecule, urolithin A, works like a ruthless overseer, forcing muscles to trigger mitophagy, the process of destroying old defective mitochondria and replacing them with new nuclear reactors. This is a massive cleanup where weak elements are mercilessly eliminated for the survival of the strong. We waste hours on treadmills trying to wake up our flabby bodies, ignoring this microscopic cellular garbage recycling plant. Imagine a brutal dictator sending old tanks to be melted down to release an armada of invincible machines. That is what pomegranate does to your energy. Roman legionnaires wore armor, but we carry a graveyard of tired cells inside us, refusing a natural defibrillator. Darth Vader killed his generals for mistakes, and pomegranate kills your weak mitochondria for your own good. Your inner sloth will scream in terror at the sight of this fruit. Fact 4. A gnarled root that cuts the pain cable in your head. Thought ginger was only good for dipping in soy sauce with tasteless sushi? Deep delusion. Hidden inside is the enzyme zingibane, which works like a natural, aggressive ibuprofen with zero side effects. It physically intercepts pain signals in the nervous system, like a SWAT team cutting the wires on a bomb, instantly relieving muscle spasms after a workout. We feed pharmaceutical giants by swallowing chemical capsules by the handful to soothe back pain. while a massive blocker dries up in the fridge. That is like calling an elite fire squad to put out a candle when you have a glass of water in your hand. In the Victorian era, people drank opium tinctures for headaches, and we drink dyed chalk, ignoring the root that literally shuts down the body alarm system. If the Terminator felt pain, he would chew this burning piece of wood by the pound. Your medicine cabinet can go ahead and hand in its resignation letter. Fact 5. A brain-like nut that plasters your exposed nerves. Sure, you have heard boring lectures about the benefits of omega-3. Yeah, right, let us forget the tedious stuff. A walnut is a massive dose of fatty acids that physically, literally brick by brick, rebuilds the myelin sheath of neurons after severe stress or microconcussions. When your boss yells at you, your nerve fibers spark like exposed wires in a flooded basement. And this nut works like a thick layer of high-quality electrical tape. We go to expensive psychoanalysts complaining about burnout, even though the jelly floating in our skull just lacks the building materials to fix its insulation. Imagine a mechanic trying to fix a short circuit in a sports car with kind words and meditation. That is how we treat our stress without fats. Pharaohs built pyramids for the afterlife, and we cannot even build basic protection for our own brain in this one. Frankenstein could definitely have used a couple of these nuts to stabilize his stitched-together nervous system. Your anxiety will choke on such audacity. Fact 6. Liquid cement for your leaky gut. Heard fairy tales about miraculous detox smoothies? That is a blatant lie for fans of pretty jars. True magic is bone broth, which looks like muddy water but works like microscopic spackle for the body. This liquid collagen permanently seals micro cracks in the walls of an irritated intestine in a matter of hours, stopping the leak of toxins into the blood. We pour liters of green sludge priced like gold into ourselves, hoping to cleanse, while our gut looks like an old sieve demanding a major overhaul. It is as absurd as trying to inflate a punctured bicycle tire without patching the hole with rubber first. Ancient hunters boiled mammoth bones to survive, and we wrinkle our noses at the smell, preferring to swallow shiny gelatin pills. If the builders of the Titanic had used this broth instead of rivets, the ship would have simply bounced off the iceberg. Your gastroenterologist will be left without a Christmas bonus. Fact 7. An orange bomb that destroys only dead flesh. Do you think papaya is just an ingredient for a beach cocktail? What unforgivable naivety. The enzyme papain hidden in its flesh is officially used in burn medicine because it chemically dissolves dead tissue without touching living, healthy cells at all. It is a smart missile with laser guidance that burns out only the rot, leaving a clean territory for new life. We get scammed into buying diamond dust scrubs that tear off our skin like sandpaper, while nature created the perfect chemical peel. It is like nuking a whole city to catch one criminal, instead of sending a sharpshooter. Alchemists searched for the philosopher's stone to purify metals, and it turned out to be a sticky fruit that cleanses flesh. Deadpool regenerated his body through hellish pain, but he could have just taken a bath in this enzyme. Your old skin will leave the chat without warning. Fact 8. Slimy mollusks that accelerate the assembly of your flesh. Think oysters are a symbol of luxury and bourgeois parties. Not even close, they are a hardcore medical kit. These unsightly things in a shell contain so much zinc that they can speed up the closing of open wounds several times over, forcing cells to divide at a frantic, uncontrollable rate. It is a biological time accelerator that turns your body into a new skin factory. We slap colorful superhero bandages on top, hoping the cut will disappear on its own, while our body desperately begs for building bricks. It looks just as stupid as trying to build a skyscraper with only a blueprint and a crew of lazy workers without concrete. Casanova ate hundreds of them for amorous exploits, completely unaware that he was simultaneously patching up his micro-injuries like a professional regenerator. Wolverine from the X-Men was definitely on an oyster diet. Otherwise, his healing tricks are scientifically inexplicable. Your cut will close up faster than you can say the word oyster. Fact 9. Purple hackers rewriting your broken code. Do you put blueberries in your oatmeal just for the social media aesthetic? Congratulations, you're using a microscope instead of a hammer. The anthocyanins in blueberries are not just boring antioxidants. They are a crew of microscopic welders capable of physically repairing damaged breaks in our DNA strands. They find sparking tears in your genetic code and solder them tightly back together. We fear radiation, bad ecology, and old age, buying protective amulets, while the real antivirus for our system code is sold by the cup at farmer markets. It is like trying to protect a server from a hacker attack by hanging garlic on the monitor instead of installing a powerful firewall. In the Middle Ages, people were burned at the stake for flesh-restoring tricks like this, and now we just blend it into a smoothie. If the creators of Jurassic Park had more of this berry, their dinosaurs would not have mutated into bloodthirsty monsters. Your genes just breathed a sigh of relief. Fact 10. Stinky bushes sounding a chemical alarm. Think broccoli sprouts are only eaten by enlightened yogis at retreats? Sounds nice, but in reality, it is much more brutal. The sulforaphane they contain does not pat you on the head. It gives your liver a harsh command for an emergency release of enzymes that break down and flush out toxins from city smog and alcohol. It is a fire siren that wakes up the cleaners in your body and makes them sweep out the trash with double the force. We get conned into week-long detox marathons with enemas, while throwing back this bitter weed is enough to trigger an industrial cleanup. Trying to cleanse the body by starving is like trying to wash a dirty car with the power of your mind while standing 15 feet away. Ancient Greeks drank wine by the gallon and did not know about this lifesaver. Otherwise, the Roman Empire would have lasted longer. The Hulk turns green from rage and your liver turns green from saving sulforaphane. Your hangover syndrome just nervously lit a cigarette. Fact 11. A black square that forcefully inflates your brain folds. Do you chew dark chocolate and take pride in your iron willpower on a diet? In reality, things are much more cynical. Cocoa flavanols work like relentless pumps. They force the brain blood vessels to produce nitric oxide, making them instantly expand, forcefully pumping oxygen into your tired, shrinking brain. It is nitrous oxide for your mental machine, a turbocharger for convolutions that forgot how to think. We chug coffee by the liter, borrowing energy at a huge interest rate, while this bitter chunk simply physically widens the fuel supply pipes. That is like trying to push a watermelon through a garden hose instead of just grabbing a wider pipe. Aztecs considered cocoa the food of the gods and used it as currency, and we condescendingly call it a treat for weight loss. If Sherlock Holmes knew this trick, he would not have needed his questionable injections to stimulate deduction. Your migraine is resentfully packing its bags. Fact 12. Well, are you already itching from the realization of your own nutritional illiteracy? Feel like going and burning half the contents of your expensive fridge? Hold on, do not run for the heart meds. The most terrifying and interesting part is still ahead. We have only just begun to lance this abscess of marketing myths. So, a burgundy root vegetable that acts as an emergency pressure release button. Beetroot is not just the base for your grandmother's soup. It is a container of nitrates that turn into a powerful vasodilator in the body. It urgently drops high blood pressure in just a couple of hours, acting like a steam release valve on an overheating boiler. We swallow handfuls of pills, sponsoring pharma companies, while this cheap red sphere rolls in the dirt in the garden. Trying to lower your blood pressure without it is like trying to stop a speeding train by throwing coins at it. Peasants ate it for centuries without knowing they possessed technology people pay millions for today. Iron Man used an arc reactor, but all you need to do is grate this thing. Your blood pressure monitor will soon be covered in a thick layer of dust. Fact 13. Asian mushrooms that trigger an intracellular siren. Did you really believe shiitake is added to noodles just for a spicy flavor? Surprise, the substance lentinan inside them works like a biological alarm that violently wakes up macrophages, massive beta cells. These awakened monsters begin to aggressively patrol the blood and devour viruses without asking unnecessary questions. This is not prevention. This is declaring martial law in your body. We wear gauze masks and spray our throats with sweet sprays, hoping to scare off the infection, while the real guard dogs sleep inside us without the proper command. It is the highest form of absurdity to hang a "Do Not Enter" sign on the door when a squad of armed guards is sleeping in your backyard. Chinese emperors ate these mushrooms for millennia, laughing at our pathetic attempts to kill a virus with a little vitamin. If Pac-Man existed in reality, he would be made of macrophages, stuffed with shiitake. Flu viruses are already writing their wills. Fact 14. A stinky clove that pierces the armor of super mutants. Garlic is not a remedy for vampires, nor is it a way to ruin a first date. Allicin, released when it is crushed, is a natural antibiotic so powerful that it can physically destroy the dense protein shell of superbugs, making the most modern pharmacy drugs retreat in panic. It is a chemical sledgehammer that smashes the cell walls of the enemy. We have been brainwashed to believe that salvation lies only in prescription drugs with unpronounceable names, while a real biological bomb sits right next to the potatoes. Using weak antibiotics against mutated bacteria is like shooting a water pistol at a tank. During great epidemics, looters rub themselves with garlic to rob corpses and not get infected, and we turn up our noses at the smell. If John Wick were a plant, he would be garlic, killing everyone indiscriminately and without mercy. Golden Staff is crying in the corner out of sheer despair. Fact 15. A sweet vacuum cleaner for your clogged muscles. Do you naively buy watermelon just to cool off in the heat? How easy it is to fool you. Floating inside it is the amino acid citrulline, which acts as an industrial vacuum for lactic acid, wiping out muscle pain after intense physical exertion. It flushes waste out of your muscles the way a cleaning service washes away the filth after a massive party. We buy expensive sports powders in giant tubs with jacked mutants drawn on them, even though the formula for fast recovery grows in a melon patch right under the open sky. Trying to recover from a workout without citrulline is like trying to bail water out of a sinking boat with a teaspoon. Ancient Egyptians put watermelons in the tombs of pharaohs not for decoration. They knew a thing or two about preserving tissues. The Flash runs so fast only because he secretly chugs watermelon juice. Your fitness coach definitely does not want you to know this secret. Fact 16. Sticky death for unkillable microbes. Think Manuka honey is just an expensive sweetener for elite tea. What a fatal mistake. Thanks to a monstrous concentration of methyl glyoxal, it does not just gently kill microbes, it physically pulls water out of them, drying up and mummifying even resistant staph right in open wounds. It is not a medicine, it is the Sahara Desert for any infection that enters your body. We smear our wounds with green antiseptic and iodine, leaving scars, while nature invented the perfect liquid spacesuit that suffocates enemies. Using regular cut cream instead of this honey is like trying to stop a zombie apocalypse with polite persuasion. Winnie the Pooh was not just a silly bear, he was a brilliant survival strategist in a harsh forest. An alien would have died of dehydration if it stepped in a puddle of this honey. Bacteria are already packing their bags and leaving your wound. Fact 17. A pink fish that fixes your internal wiring. Do you order wild salmon at a restaurant to show off your status? In reality, you are just doing an emergency repair on your nervous system. EPA and DHA fatty acids are not just abstract benefits. They are the main and only building material for growing the protective insulation of your spinal cord and exposed nerves. When your eye twitches, that is your brain screaming about the lack of this exact insulation. We carry our hard-earned cash to the pharmacy for sedatives that merely muffle the alarm, leaving the wires themselves exposed and sparking. It is like ripping the light bulb out of a car dashboard so you do not see the empty tank signal. Bears in Alaska devour this fish before hibernation so their nervous systems do not crumble to dust over the winter, and we consider it a holiday delicacy. Cyborg from the Justice League was definitely changing his oil with this fish oil. Your nervous breakdowns are cancelled due to line maintenance. Fact 18. Green happy pills from a pumpkin. Do you snack on pumpkin seeds out of boredom in front of the TV? In reality, you're giving yourself an injection of pure magnesium. In 20 minutes, they can unbind leg muscles cramped by a nighttime spasm, relaxing fibers in a way no massage therapist could ever dream of. It is a chemical key that opens a jammed lock in your cramped calves. We suffer from spasms buying fizzy tablets with a synthetic orange flavor, while a true relaxant sits inside a vegetable used to carve scary faces for a holiday. Treating cramps with stretching but no magnesium is like trying to open a metal door by yanking the handle instead of just inserting the key. Native Americans used them for centuries, and we tossed this green magic into the trash can while cooking. If the Hulk ate pumpkin seeds, he would never be able to get angry and turn into a monster. Your calf muscles are sending you rays of deep gratitude. Fact 19. A blue algae that reboots your bone marrow. Spirulina is not just a trendy supplement for the green smoothies of fitness models. The blue pigment phycocyanin hidden within it works as a hardcore stimulant. It penetrates the bone marrow and triggers the accelerated assembly line production of completely new clean stem cells. It is a spare parts factory for your worn-out body. We fear aging and buy collagen creams, trying to paint over the cracks on the facade, while this blue powder does a major overhaul of the foundation. Trying to rejuvenate yourself on the outside when everything is falling apart inside is like putting lipstick on a corpse, hoping it will go dancing. Aztecs scraped this slime from lakes and were tougher than horses, and we squeamishly wrinkle our noses at the swampy taste. The avatars in James Cameron's movie were blue for a reason. They were definitely on a spirulina diet. Your passport age just nervously choked. Fact 20. Seeds that create a liquid spacesuit for your insides. Do you sprinkle chia seeds in your yogurt for the crunch? You have no idea what they are capable of. Upon contact with liquid, they release a thick, impenetrable slime that acts as a powerful liquid band-aid, enveloping an acid-burned stomach during severe heartburn. It is a fire extinguisher that floods the blaze with dense foam, preventing the acid from eating away your tissues. We swallow chalk and baking soda, hoping to put out the fire inside, which gives an effect for exactly 5 minutes, while this slime creates long-lasting protective armor. That is like trying to put out a burning house by spitting on it when a tank of firefighting foam is standing right next to you. Ancient Mayan warriors ran for days eating only this slimy mass, and we cannot even run to the bus without losing our breath. Venom from the comic books would have been the perfect symbiote if he were made of chia seed gel. Your gastritis is packing its bags and riding off into the sunset. Fact 21. A green drink that hires hitmen for your mutants. Do you drink green tea to wake up and lose weight? That is its most boring application. The catechins it contains act like cold-blooded cellular hitmen. They prowl the body, locate mutated, defective cells, and activate a forced self-destruct program within them. It is a built-in antivirus that deletes corrupted files before they crash the entire system. We get scared by terrifying diagnoses, trembling over every pimple, while an assassin for early-stage cancer cells floats in a regular mug. Relying on blind luck without prevention is like walking through a minefield in snowshoes and believing in good fortune. Buddhist monks have been drinking it for centuries, meditating for hours without a single illness, while we chug energy drinks, destroying our DNA. The T-1000 Terminator melted in a vat of metal and mutated cells melt in green tea. Your defective genes just committed harakiri. Fact 22. Liquid gold that freezes your inflamed joints. Think olive oil is just needed to keep your salad from being dry. That is a dangerous underestimation. Floating inside it is the molecule oleocanthal, which ruthlessly blocks inflammation enzymes in aching joints with the absolute precision and power of a chemical aspirin tablet. It is a liquid freeze that stops cartilage destruction on a biochemical level. We rub our knees with smelly ointments, handing over crazy amounts of money to pharmacists, while a real anti-inflammatory drug sits in the kitchen cabinet. Trying to cure arthritis without this oil is like trying to stop rust on a car with persuasion and a tambourine dance. Gladiators rubbed it on their bodies, not for the shine, but to survive after being hacked up in the arena. If the Tin Woodman drank olive oil, he would be breakdancing without a single creak. Your creaky knees can finally relax. Fact 23. Hello again. Congratulations to everyone who survived to this line and has not fainted yet from realizing how badly we have been fooled. Did you think our mockery of your worldview would end here? Naive. So, a crunchy sphere that stitches up your ulcers. White cabbage is not a punishment from a kindergarten cafeteria. Vitamin U, discovered in its juice, can physically scar over a fresh stomach ulcer in a matter of days. Working like an emergency welding crew on a ruptured pipeline, we swallow proton pump inhibitors, completely killing our digestion, while a dirt-cheap vegetable is ready to patch the holes in our gut. Treating an ulcer with chemicals while ignoring cabbage is like sticking chewing gum on a burst pipe under high pressure. Our ancestors fermented it by the barrel and did not know the word gastroenterologist, and we cringe at the smell. Shrek lived in a swamp and definitely knew the secret of this greenery, judging by his cast iron digestion. Your perforated ulcer just cancelled its reservation in surgery. Fact 24. Red orbs that build a built-in radiation shield. Do you toss tomatoes into your salad raw, robbing yourself of the main magic trick? When heated, they release lycopene, which, once absorbed into the body, physically lines up in the skin cells, acting as a powerful built-in sunscreen that repairs microburns from the inside. It is invisible armor that reflects radiation right under your epidermis. We have been trained to smear on sticky chemical lotions, washing them off into the ocean, while a real protective barrier is created in a frying pan with eggs. Roasting in the sun without lycopene is like climbing into a nuclear reactor in nothing but swim trunks, hoping for a good tan. Italians eat pasta with tomato paste by the ton and do not age in the blazing sun, while we burn to a crisp in an hour. The Fantastic Four got their powers in space, but all you need is to eat a hot tomato to create a force field. Your dermatologist is looking sadly at falling cream sales right now. Fact 25. A Peruvian root that resurrects your dead adrenal glands. Think maca is just another powder for hipsters. In reality, it is a hardcore adaptogen that does not loan you energy at a crazy interest rate like your beloved caffeine, but rather drags your shredded adrenal glands out of a state of deep hormonal exhaustion in just 24 hours. It does not whip a tired horse, it gives it a bucket of premium oats. We pour liters of black sludge into ourselves in the mornings, killing our hearts while our hormonal balance begs for mercy and real fuel. Chugging coffee when exhausted is like trying to start a stalled car by constantly cranking the starter until the wiring burns out. The Incas devoured this root before heavy battles so they would not feel fatigue, and we drink energy drinks just to make it to the end of the workday. The battery bunny is a pathetic parody of how this plant works. Your barista will definitely not thank you for the betrayal. Fact 26. A lonely nut that jumpstarts your stalled thyroid engine. Do you eat Brazil nuts by the handful? Stop, that is overkill. Just one such nut contains 100% of your daily value of selenium, which acts like an ignition key for a stalled thyroid gland, forcing it to produce hormones again. It is not a snack, it is a chemical detonator for your metabolism. We walk around sleepy, get fat from breathing air, and take artificial hormones, while the solution the size of a finger joint sits on the counter. Ignoring selenium with a sick thyroid is like trying to accelerate a locomotive by throwing wet wood into the furnace. Indigenous Amazonian tribes eat them one by one and have the energy of a cheetah, and we either gobble them like popcorn or do not eat them at all. If Tony Stark built his suit out of food, a Brazil nut would be his arc reactor. Your endocrinologist will be furious about your perfect test results. Fact 27. Slimy grass that mimics lizard regeneration. Sea kelp is not just a cheap snack that tastes like iodine. The polysaccharide fucoidan it contains literally hacks your code and mimics the regeneration processes of fish. It forces massive wounds to pull together faster, leaving no rough keloid scars at all. It is a program for smoothly fusing tissues without scarring. We smear fresh scars with insanely expensive gels that merely create a film. while this algae works from the inside like a microscopic plastic surgeon. Treating wounds without fucoidan is like trying to glue a broken vase back together with electrical tape instead of invisible superglue. The Japanese eat it every day and live to be 100 with baby smooth skin, and we ignore this gift from the sea. A lizard drops its tail and grows a new one, and all we grow are insecurities because of scars. Plastic surgeons hate this green substance with all their souls. Fact 28. A sour sludge that drops an armed landing party into your gut. Do you drink sweet yogurts from commercials to improve digestion? What touching naivety! Just one glass of proper angry kefir drops a ruthless landing party of billions of combat bacteria into your intestines, which physically push pathogens off the mucosal walls shoulder to shoulder in just 24 hours. This is not gentle care. This is a hostile takeover of your microflora in the name of good. We feed ourselves sugar disguised as probiotics, growing fungi, while the real forest rangers cost pennies in a regular carton. Drinking sweet yogurt to treat your gut is like hiring clowns to guard a bank from armed robbers. Caucasian centenarians chug this sour drink by the bucket and do not know what bloating is, while we study the ingredients on pretty little jars. The Starship Troopers landed on the bug planet with less swagger than kefir landing in your stomach. Pathogenic bacteria will surrender without the slightest resistance. Fact 29. A sweet orange potato that stitches up your scorched eyes. Think sweet potatoes are just a trendy substitute for regular potatoes for aesthetes. Nothing of the sort. This thing contains such a monstrous dose of beta-carotene that it can emergency patch microdamage to the cornea of your eye caused by staring at a monitor for 10 hours straight. It is liquid welding for your scorched retina. We have been conditioned to buy artificial tear drops that bring relief for exactly 1 minute, while this root vegetable rebuilds the very structure of the eye. Dropping water into tired eyes is like spraying perfume on a broken engine, hoping it will run. Native Americans had the eyesight of eagles, not because they looked off into the distance, but because they devoured this orange mass. Cyclops from the X-Men shot lasers out of his eyes, and all you shoot are red capillaries by evening. Eye doctors secretly hope you will never fall in love with sweet potatoes. Fact 30. Green fat that drains energy only from your enemies. Do you smear avocado on toast just to look modern? You do not even understand the weapon you're holding in your hands. The molecule avocatin B hidden inside it has a terrifying property. It purposefully, like a bloodhound, finds broken cells and deprives them of energy, completely leaving alone the living, healthy tissues around them. It is a sniper that only shoots at mutants. We fear tumors and drink tons of preventative chemicals that bomb the whole area, while this green hitman works with surgical precision. Fighting sick cells indiscriminately is like poisoning cockroaches in your house with a flamethrower, burning down all your furniture in the process. Aztecs called it the testicle of the tree because of its shape, but in reality it is a selective action grenade. Blade destroyed vampires in a crowd of humans with the same filigree precision. Your mutated cells will be left without lunch and quietly die. Fact 31. A dry bud that paralyzes your dental suffering. Do you only use cloves for pickling cucumbers? You're missing out on the most powerful anesthesia. It is a natural source of eugenol. If you simply chew this wooden bud, it acts as a massive local anesthetic, paralyzing a throbbing tooth nerve in seconds. It is a pain switch that cuts the contact directly. We swallow packs of painkillers, destroying our livers, and climb the walls waiting for a dentist appointment, while a dirt-cheap spice sits in the cupboard and gets bored. Enduring toothache when you have cloves is like voluntarily sitting on a hot stove when you have the remote to turn it off in your pocket. In ancient China, no one approached the emperor without it so as not to breathe on him with sick teeth, and we have forgotten this life hack. If the victims in the movie Saw were given cloves, the maniac would have been deeply disappointed by their silence. Your dentist is going to lose his commission on strong pill sales. Fact 32. Yellow powder that penetrates the core of your pain. Think turmeric is only needed to make rice a pretty yellow color. What blasphemy! Curcumin physically penetrates right through the membrane into the core of your cell and permanently blocks the genes that trigger systemic inflammation in arthritis and old injuries. It is a hacker rewriting the destruction command inside your DNA. We have been hooked on non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that slowly kill the stomach, while this powder extinguishes the flames on a genetic level. Treating systemic inflammation with ointments is like trying to turn off an alarm by plugging your ears with cotton instead of cutting the right wire. Indians eat curry by the kilogram and bend into the lotus position well into deep old age, and we creak with every bend. Neo stopped bullets with the power of his mind, and turmeric stops pain with the power of chemistry. Your joints just forgot what creaking is. Fact 33. A hairy fruit that knocks out your anxiety with a sledgehammer. Do you eat kiwi just for the exotic taste? Prepare for the truth. This green flesh contains such a massive dose of serotonin precursors that it slams the brakes on your exhausted nervous system, forcefully shifting the brain from a phase of endless anxiety into a phase of deep restorative sleep. It is an emergency brake for your panicking mind. We drink synthetic antidepressants and tranquilizers, turning ourselves into vegetables, while this furry orb does the job cleanly and with zero side effects. Trying to fall asleep with anxiety without the help of serotonin is like trying to stop an airplane on the runway by grabbing its wing with your bare hands. The kiwi bird cannot fly, but the kiwi fruit sends you right into the cosmos of healthy sleep. Freddy Krueger steers clear of people who stuff themselves with kiwi before bed. There is nothing for him to catch there. Your panic attack is postponed indefinitely. Well, how do you like the view of reality without rose-colored glasses? We have dismantled this circus for parts and shown you that the real tools of salvation have always been right under your nose while you obediently carried your money to the pharmacy register. Your body is not a trash can for the chemical experiments of marketers. It is a highly complex bioreactor that requires proper, natural fuel, not pretty labels. Stop being puppets in the hands of corporations that cash in on your weakness and ignorance. If you want us to keep pulling you out of this informational coma and smacking you in the face with hard facts, subscribe and turn on notifications right now. And down in the comments, I am waiting for you to drop fact 34. Which food, in your opinion, is hiding its true superpowers while we walk right past it in the supermarket?